So, went yesterday to the store to get various items for square foot gardening project that we are going to work on this summer as a family. I have been shared a book by a friend who has done this herself and has quite a few 4x4 frames in her yard. So I have one 4x4 frame that we will plant some vegetables in. This is an experiment as I'm not an expert by any means. I'm simply following tips from the book that I am borrowing about square foot gardening and hopefully seeing it from a complete novice point of view and following the directions in the book, which is from the expert. I'm hoping to convey how fun it can be, how simple it can be, and how successful it can be following the steps. So we plan on putting the frame down in our chosen spot in the backyard. We are going to mix the soil to then put into the frame. We are also going to plant potatoes in a tub. These won't be in the 4x4 frame. Potatoes need to be a bit deeper, and so we will be planting those in a 5-gallon bucket and making the progress of their growth and sprouting part of the planting as well. You start them off at the bottom of the bucket, then as they sprout and grow, you increase the layers of the soil on top of those until it reaches the top of the bucket, and then you allow the plant to grow, which gives the whole depth of the bucket room for the potatoes to be growing in. Having gone to the store yesterday, got the supplies, we are now ready to go and start getting the garden plot made and ready for seeds. So let's go see what we have bought of the peat moss, the compost, and the vermiculite, which is what we will make the soil compound from, and place the garden box. So come with me and see what we have waiting for us outside. So here I am in the garage, getting ready to head out with our bucket of supplies here, which has gloves, it has the pegs to hold down the frame, it has the raspberry bush that we're going to plant. We also have some trowels and shovels that we just got from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to head out and get started on it with our basic bucket of supplies. So not a whole lot needed, just a plan and instructions to follow. So here we go, outside, see what we can get accomplished. Here I am outside with our supplies here for our square foot gardening project. Actually planning on making a compost bin as well, which is what this bin right here is. Gonna get my husband to drill some holes in that, and we can start putting grass clippings and old fruit scraps, potato peelings, anything green, any dry crumbly leaves, things like that, to compost them and be able to use for our garden in the future, instead of having to buy bags of compost, which is what I did yesterday. I got a few different kinds to mix in and follow the directions of the soil formula. Compost, vermiculite, and the peat moss. For our 4x4 bed, we'll just need 8 cubic feet of soil formula, and so that means about 2.66 cubic feet of each of those products. that will mix together and fill our bed. So let's go and have a look and see whereabouts along the back of the house we're going to put that bed and put all this stuff in it. Here is all our gear that we've bought. You can see the bin. Here's one of the bags. Over here is the vermiculite. This was part of the compost. The big square bag here was the peat moss. So it was kind of interesting figuring out the math for that. These are the buckets that we're going to be putting the potatoes in, and along the back here is where we're going to have our frame. Right there we lifted the frame up so we could actually mow the yard, but right here under what is our like dining room window is where the frame is going to be, because this little gap here of the flower bed, as you can see, this is quite nice and wide, this is really narrow, so I thought if the box is here, it's not really blocking too much of a flower bed, it's not getting in the way of anything much. Whereas here, if we want to pave this and put chairs in it, or if we want to put plants in it, I still want this wide area available instead of having the 4x4 box here on the floor. The same with some of the plants over here, which they're coming up really nice. We can't take too much credit for that. Some of them were already here when we bought the house, and some of those things that are in there are actually weeds. I think those yellow things need to be pulled. There is a rose bush, I want to say, at the end there somewhere, or maybe it's around the corner, and so these trees that have sprouted up from seeds that have fallen, we're actually going to be pulling those out, and I want to say over there is where I'm going to put the raspberry bush. So for now, right here under the dining room window is where we're going to put our 4x4 garden. So let's get started. Now, as it is rather a sunny day outside, I am going to make sure that we put on some sunblock, because my lovely pale and pasty skin on my arms and my neck here is likely to get burnt. So that's a good tip as well, to kind of even prepare the simplest thing of being outside for more than 10 minutes. At the end of the day, I don't want to regret any time that I'm spending in the garden, so I'm going to make sure to put some sunblock on before I get outside for too much longer.